Title: A millionaire inherited a resort from his father and disguised himself as a janitor to test the employees. He was shocked when Jacob was the only child of Maxwell Crane, a self-made millionaire and owner of the renowned Crane Bay Resort, a luxurious retreat known for its beautiful ocean views, high-end service, and exclusive clientele. Maxwell had poured his life into building the resort from the ground up, turning it into a celebrated vacation spot known for its excellent guest services and its close-knit team of dedicated employees. Though Jacob had grown up watching his father manage the resort with care, he had chosen a different path. After college, he pursued a successful career in finance in the city, far removed from the world of hospitality. But when Maxwell suddenly passed away, the resort was passed down to Jacob as his father's sole heir. As Jacob returned to Crane Bay to handle the transition, he realized how little he knew about the day-to-day operations and, more importantly, the people who worked tirelessly to make his father's dream a success. As he reviewed the staff files and company reports, Jacob noticed a list of feedback complaints about staff attitudes and service inconsistencies. His father had always trusted his employees and prided himself on having a loyal team. But with Maxwell gone, Jacob couldn't help but wonder if this loyalty was genuine or merely a mask worn for his father's sake. The thought sparked an idea, one that would allow him to understand the true character of the resort staff and assess who truly valued their work. Jacob decided he would disguise himself as a janitor and work anonymously among the employees. He hoped to gain a first-hand understanding of the resort's inner workings and learn whether the legacy his father had left behind was in safe hands. With his plan in place, Jacob arrived at Crane Bay Resort, dressed in simple clothes and using the alias, Jim. Only the general manager, Daniel, was informed of Jacob's true identity in his mission. Daniel, who had been Maxwell's close confidant, agreed to keep Jacob's presence a secret and provided him with a rundown of janitorial duties. On his first day, Jacob started cleaning the lobby, feeling both excited and apprehensive about the challenge ahead. He was used to wearing tailored suits and giving orders, not scrubbing floors or dusting tables. But he knew he had to stay committed to the role if he was to truly understand the people around him. As he worked, Jacob watched the staff interact, noting their attitudes and work ethics. Most employees ignored him, treating him as if he were invisible, a silent observer in the bustling environment. However, two individuals stood out immediately: Linda, the front desk receptionist, who often complained about her workload and spoke rudely to guests, and Tony, a cheerful bellhop who seemed to genuinely enjoy his job, treating guests with kindness and going out of his way to make them feel welcome. Jacob spent the next few weeks working alongside the staff, gradually uncovering both inspiring and troubling truths. Linda's behavior grew more concerning. She often dismissed guest complaints with an eye roll and shirked her duties whenever management wasn't watching. She would gossip with other employees about lazy guests and boasted about her ability to cut corners without getting caught. In contrast, Tony's dedication and empathy became even more evident. One evening, Jacob saw Tony helping an elderly guest with his luggage, chatting warmly and offering local sightseeing tips. When the guest insisted on giving him a tip, Tony kindly refused, saying, "Just happy to help, sir. Enjoy your stay." Another employee, Maria, caught Jacob's attention. She worked in housekeeping and was known among the staff as Mama Maria for her nurturing personality. Maria was diligent and took immense pride in her work, treating each guest's room as if it were her own. Jacob learned that Maria had been with the resort since its opening, and her loyalty to his father's legacy was palpable. Jacob's respect for Maria and Tony grew, but he was also disheartened to see how some other employees disrespected them. Linda and a few others mocked Maria's old-fashioned ways and Tony's friendliness, viewing their dedication as naive. As Jacob grew closer to Maria and Tony. They often shared their stories during lunch breaks, with Maria recounting fond memories of working under Maxwell. She spoke of his fairness and his personal investment in his employees' well-being, recalling how he had supported her when her husband passed away years earlier. Hearing these stories humbled Jacob, making him realize the depth of his father's commitment to his employees. He also noticed a distinct difference between the newer hires, who seemed to prioritize their paychecks over the resort's reputation, and the older employees, who treated the resort as family. One day, Maria noticed Jacob struggling to move a cart of cleaning supplies and offered him advice on how to manage the task more efficiently. Her patience and willingness to help touched him, and he felt a pang of guilt for keeping his identity a secret. Jacob's perception of the staff changed profoundly one fateful evening when an emergency struck. A powerful storm hit the coast, flooding parts of the resort and causing a power outage. With limited staff on duty, chaos ensued as guests panicked and tried to leave. Jacob sprang into action, doing what he could to calm the guests, though his cover was slipping as he took on a more assertive role. As he directed guests to safer areas, he noticed Maria and Tony working tirelessly to reassure everyone, guiding them through the darkened hallways and even sacrificing their own comfort to help. Linda, on the other hand, vanished as soon as the crisis began, retreating to the staff lounge to avoid the chaos. Jacob later found her complaining to a coworker about how underpaid she was for dealing with such emergencies, seemingly unaffected by the plight of the guests or her colleagues. As Jacob and the dedicated staff navigated the storm, he saw firsthand who truly cared about the resort and who viewed it as merely a job. Maria's and Tony's selflessness left a lasting impression on him, and he knew that once the storm passed, there would be difficult decisions to make. The next morning, with the resort's power restored, Jacob decided it was time to reveal his identity. He gathered the staff in the main hall, shedding his janitor's attire and stepping forward as the new owner. Shock rippled through the room as employees recognized Jim as Jacob Crane, the heir to Crane Bay Resort. With a firm yet compassionate tone, Jacob praised the employees who had gone above and beyond during the crisis, singling out Maria and Tony for their loyalty and dedication. He also addressed the troubling behaviors he had observed, his gaze landing on Linda and a few others who had neglected their duties or shown disregard for the resort's guests. Linda's face turned pale as Jacob announced that he would be making changes to ensure the resort upheld his father's legacy of integrity and excellence. He dismissed Linda and the others who had proven to be liabilities, offering severance but making it clear that their attitude had no place at Crane Bay. After addressing the staffing changes, Jacob approached Maria and Tony privately, thanking them for their kindness and commitment. He offered Maria a well-deserved promotion and invited Tony to join the resort's guest relations team, where he could use his enthusiasm to create memorable experiences for visitors. Grateful and overwhelmed, both Maria and Tony accepted the offers, promising to continue honoring Maxwell's legacy. In the months that followed, Jacob made several improvements to the resort. Inspired by the employees who had shown true character, he created programs to support staff training and well-being, following his